Good morning everyone, and welcome back to another full house clean, this time a holiday special. So I would like to start this video by making it very clear that there was absolutely nothing wrong with the cleanliness or the hygiene in this holiday home. The only reason that I am cleaning it is because this is a cleaning channel and I wanted to film something a little bit new and different to keep things a little bit fresh on here, so that you're not watching me clean the same things every single week without any differences. So this is the reason why I'm cleaning the holiday home today. So this is our holiday home that we stayed in Gran Canaria. It is a small 1-bedroom, 1-bathroom kind of mini house chalet kind of thing. And there was a daily cleaning service 5 days out of 7. The cleaning staff were amazing, they were friendly, they did a really good job and they did it very quickly. So like I say, absolutely no shade on the company or the cleaners that come round to sort it out. I just wanted to film something a little bit different for you on the days when the cleaners did not come in. So to be safe and to not damage anything, I am literally just using hot soapy water in all areas of the house. I'm not using any chemicals, I'm not using any scrubbing or anything like that. I'm being very gentle. I'm just going over and really just kind of dusting things and moving any little spots and marks and things off of those. So I'm starting today in the shower room. In here there is a sink, as you can see I'm cleaning now, a toilet and a shower. I'm not going to be cleaning the shower today, purely because the shower door screen is glass and I don't have the correct cleaning supplies to clean the glass without making it a horrible mess for the cleaning ladies who were coming round the next day. So I've just gone over the sink with the hot soapy water and I'm just going to buff it dry with one of the hand towels. Again, these got changed daily. This was one that had already been used that morning, and so I could use it to just go over and buff, make sure everything was nice and shiny. So I do currently have my husband filming for me. I did not bring my tripod with me on holiday. I kind of wish I had now, but at the same time it was just another thing to pack and to manage through the flight and things like that. So I have my husband acting as my camera guy today. I think he did a pretty good job. But he is going to film me in the toilet doing the cleaning, and then the rest of it I'm just going to prop the camera up in places. So I'm going over the toilet just with some baby wipes that we picked up, nice, cheap, easy, simple soapy water basically, and I'm going to go over the toilet from the outside to the inside. I'm not using any chemicals in the toilet bowl because A, I don't have any, and B, I'm not sure what sort of a system they are set up on here, whether or it's safe to use any kind of Harpic or anything like that. So I'm just going to go over it with baby wipes, and I'm just going to give the bowl a quick buzz around with the toilet brush, which they do clean and swap out daily, and then that'll be it for the toilet. So a bit of background for any of you who are new to the channel. My name's Kerry and I have a kind of cleaning, homemaking, mum life channel over here on YouTube. This week we are on our holidays in Gran Canaria and I wanted to film something a little bit different for you. Normally this wouldn't be the kind of holiday we would usually go on. I am deathly afraid of flying and so I have never actually been abroad before. This is my first time at the ripe age of very close to 40 years old, my first time going abroad. My holidays until now have been very much in England and Scotland and Wales. I've not gone any further than that, and they would usually be more along the kind of sort of typical British resort holidays. So places like Great Yarmouth and things like that, where there are lots of fun fairs and amusement arcades and beaches. So this holiday for me was very, very different. I did the flight and I wasn't too bad. I did have a little bit of a panic on takeoff. It was all new and strange and loud and not as smooth as I was actually kind of anticipating that it would be. But you know, we got here and it was okay, and I've discovered that once I'm up in the air, it's totally fine. Descending, no issue either. It's just the climb, that initial takeoff. And I was also quite bad with it on the way back, as well. So that's going to be the issue for me. But you know, takeoff is like 2-3 minutes. It's nothing really. It's not really worth spoiling the whole rest of the holiday and not being able to go anywhere for that 3 minutes. You know, it's doable. So this kind of holiday might be a little bit more regular. However, I think I don't want to go as far as we did this year. I think I want to keep the flights a little bit shorter. So as you can see, I have moved on now from the bathroom into the bedroom. I have propped the camera up, as I think you can probably see it in the reflection of the mirror. And I'm just going to go over these little shelves. I'm literally just using a wet sponge now. There's not even any kind of soap or detergent on it anymore. It's just a wet sponge to remove the dust. And I'm just going to go and speed this up for you so that you don't get too bored. So as you could see from that sponge, it was really very minimal dust. Like I say, these places were very clean anyway. I just thought it would be something different to do, something different to film, and it just makes it a little bit easier for the maids to come in the next day and have a little bit less to do after their well-deserved day off. So next on the agenda was to make the beds, which was a very difficult feat. I don't know how they do it so quickly. Honestly, when they come around, it's usually one at a time, and they are in, cleaned, made the beds, changed the towels, done the bins, swept and mopped everywhere, and it takes them about half an hour. That is absolute madness to me. It took me so long to make these beds. I've sped it up, obviously, because you guys will go grey by the time I finish making these beds if I did it in real time. But it was so difficult to get between these two beds to kind of tuck everything in. Now I know that I'm not a small girl, but I'm about the same size as a lot of the maids here. I don't know how they do it. And in such heat as well. It was so hot. I spent a few months, a couple of years ago, working at a hotel, so I know how to make a bed. You know, it just didn't come out right. It was so difficult. So you had the base sheet and then a top sheet on top of that. On top of the top sheet you had the nice thin quilt, and then on top of that you had a further sheet. I think that was more to kind of decorate the bed. So when you put all those 4 layers together, things kind of start to shift as you're trying to tuck them. So I was constantly kind of tucking, pulling it out, retucking, walking around to the other side of the bed. It was very, very difficult. So hats off to the maids that do 20 or 30 of these rooms every single day. It's insane. And it was so hot. I did this in the morning rather than in the kind of late afternoon when they normally come round. And the heat in the late afternoon, you don't even want to be alive, let alone working in that heat. And they do it with a smile on their faces. They're absolutely brilliant. Hats off to them. This was difficult. As an afterthought, though, I must say, I have always appreciated having larger bedding than the bed that you are making. So if you have a single bed, I'd recommend you have double-sized bedding on there, with the exception of a fitted sheet, of course, because it makes it so much easier to tuck and to make the bed. And that's something I kind of lost sight of when we got our current bed at home. So not in this video, of course, but at home we have a king size bed. So the rule would be to grab a king size sheet, top sheet that is, a super king sheet, a super king duvet cover, etc. And I kind of lost sight of that, and I think that's something that I'm going to remedy when I do get home, because it does make it so much easier to tuck everything and to make the bed nice and tight and neat. I'm one of those people, I like the very tightly tucked sheets. I kind of think it reminds me of being a kid and going to my nan's at the weekends. She would tuck us in so tight, and it would be a borderline uncomfortable but somehow satisfying. I'm one of those people that's kind of comfortable under a weighted blanket, so to have that kind of tight sensation around you is really nice. However, here where I'm making the beds currently, it was like 25, 27 degrees. I don't want a tightly tucked sheet, but at home I definitely do. So that's something I'm going to be looking at getting when I get back, is some larger sheets so that I can tuck the bed nice and tight. You know, I should just address the fact that this is 2 beds, shouldn't I? I did the voiceover for my holiday vlog earlier on today, and my mind's still a bit scrambled from it all. I forgot to mention that yes, this is a double room, but these beds are obviously singles and pushed together. They are not joined, which kind of fun, because in the middle of the night you'd roll in between the two. It was all right for the first 2 nights. We were like, oh, this is nice. Actually, I quite like that separation, because we weren't rolling into each other as you would in a normal kind of double or king size bed. But as the week went on, the beds kind of split apart and sort of started to drift into their own corners. And so we would be constantly falling down this little gap in between the beds, which was quite hilarious. I'm not sure why this is set up like this. Certainly you couldn't have the beds separately. There's not enough room between the two for it to really be a twin. But at the same time, there's not a double in there. I'm not really sure what the plan was. I wonder if sometimes they let these rooms out as single, because this is a part of like a golf course complex. So I'm wondering if like just single golf players come and they just take one of the beds out perhaps, and that's how they do it. I don't know, seems weird to me. But finally, the beds are made. It's time for just a little sweep. I don't have a mop, so I will not be mopping. The housekeepers will be around tomorrow anyway with the mop, so not too worried about that, but giving it a sweep, and then I will show you a little clip of the upstairs finished. Moving on now to the stairs and landing, I'm going to show you how I cleaned these kind of brushed steel, chrome, whatever you want to call them, handrails. I found during the week that the marks on them from hands was kind of bugging me, and I discovered quite quickly that a baby wipe followed by a buff of a cloth or a towel worked really well to keep these nice and clean. So I'm literally just running my hand down with a baby wipe in it, and it's removing all of those fingerprints and marks. I do also sweep the stairs, but I couldn't find a kind of good place to put my camera where I could actually film that without either knocking the camera down the stairs or falling down the stairs myself. So we skipped that bit, but I just swept the stairs very simply with a dustpan and brush that we had underneath the sink. So next on the agenda is the lounge. My husband has popped out to the bar to allow me a little bit of space to film, bless him. So I'm going to get started in here so that he can come back to his beloved TV when he's finished his beer. So just going over the coffee table really quickly, nothing major again, just a little bit of water with a tiny bit of fairy liquid on it, and then I'll rinse that off afterwards as well. And then moving on to the little table underneath the TV. This was very much kind of like a catch-all area. So we had little cards that we would scan when we went to the breakfast buffet and things like that, and they would be our key cards for our door as well. So they got put on there so we could access them easily, and other things got popped on there as well. Hire car keys, sunscreen, that kind of thing. So I wanted to make sure that I had a really good wipe over as well. So this sofa here is actually a sofa bed, and it has been where my youngest daughter has been sleeping for the week. My other two children actually have the little house next door, which is a carbon copy of this one. I'm not going to clean theirs today, that's on them. But I'm going to clean this one up. So just making sure that the cushions are sitting straight, and now I'm going to clear the floor, ready to give that sweep. And last but by no means least, moving on to the little kitchenette. I go over this a few times a day anyway, just because where we're making cups of tea and drinks and little snacks and things like that, we get crumbs and drips and spills on this little breakfast bar, so I go over it quite frequently anyway. all it needed today was a little bit of a wipe. And now for the washing up. Just a few cups. It seemed, I don't know if it was some kind of magic, but every time I went to the sink there was at least 4 or 5 glasses in it, and at this point it was just me in the house. I don't know where they kept coming from, but literally I would wash up maybe 4 or 5 times a day and there would always be like 4 or 5 cups in there. Really, really annoying. The sponge that I was using for the washing up was a separate one, by the way, from the one that I was using to clean. I think you will see them both in a second. The washing up one is much flatter and thinner than the one I'm using for the cleaning, so don't panic, I'm not using the cleaning cloth for the dishes. And yes, I'm rinsing the glasses. Don't panic, nobody is going to die. There's not a single bubble left on anything. Do not worry yourselves. None of us have died yet, and none of us are going to. It's just a bit of soap. Okay, now those are all washed, wiped and put away, I am using the cleaning sponge to go over the rest of the countertop by the sink, and I will use this same sponge for cleaning inside the sink as well, just to make it all nice and clean. We are in an area that does get cockroaches. It's one of the things we were warned about when we booked. In these hot areas of the world, you cannot help. There's going to be cockroaches, but we did not find a single one or hint of one anywhere near the house, let alone inside it. But for the sake of trying to not encourage them onto the site, we kept everything very, very clean, including the sink. Yummy! Look what hubby just sent from the bar. Unfortunately, there's no vodka in it, but I do not care because it's so warm and a nice icy slush is perfect. And the last thing that I'm going to be doing today is just polishing the little handles on the doors. They're the same stuff that the banister is made of, so I'm just using the exact same method to clean those. You can see the little reflection of my camera. I miss my tripod desperately. So I'm just going to give those a little polish with the baby wipe. I did dry them, but for some reason I didn't film that. I wasn't aware that I hadn't filmed that, my apologies. And then one last final sweep, and then we are all done. I hope you've enjoyed this little different cleaning video today, and I will see you in the next one. Bye bye.